Some legends rise with noise, but Tim Duncan rose with silence. No hype, no theatrics, just unstoppable greatness. Born in Saint Croix with dreams of becoming an Olympic swimmer, his entire path shifted when Hurricane Hugo destroyed the island's only Olympic-sized pool, forcing him out of the water and onto the hardwood. From that unexpected detour came a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP, and the calm anchor of the San Antonio Spurs dynasty, proving you don't need flash to change the game forever. This is the unlikely rise of Tim Duncan, the quiet legend who conquered the NBA his own way. Timothy Theodore Duncan was born on April 25, 1976, on the sunlit island of Saint Croix, where life drifted as gently as the tide. In his close, grounded family, love was steady and expectations were simple. Work hard, stay humble, and do your best. His mother, Ione, a midwife with quiet strength, became his guiding light. Her mantra, "Do your best, and the rest will follow," floated through his childhood like a steady breeze. His father, William, showed him what patience looked like, building life the way he laid bricks, slow, firm, and purposeful. Before anyone imagined Tim Duncan on a basketball court, he belonged to the water. Swimming was his first passion, and he cut through the pool like a knife through calm sea. By his early teens, he was among the Caribbean's brightest young swimmers, with the Olympic Games not just as a dream, but as a destination. Then life turned. In 1989, Hurricane Hugo tore through Saint Croix with the fury of a giant, leaving destruction everywhere, including the island's only Olympic-sized pool. His sanctuary vanished, and the ocean's unpredictable waves could never replace it. Slowly, painfully, his Olympic dream slipped away. The deepest blow came soon after, the death of his mother. Her final words, "Stand tall," rooted themselves in him, a promise he would carry quietly for the rest of his life. With swimming gone and grief heavy on his shoulders, Tim drifted until friends nudged him onto a basketball court. At first, he moved awkwardly, as if learning a new language in an unfamiliar body. But Tim worked quietly, relentlessly, drawing on the discipline he had built in the pool. Every day his footwork sharpened, his understanding deepened, and the once awkward teenager began to rise like dawn breaking over the island. Local coaches took notice, and soon word traveled beyond Saint Croix. Wake Forest coach Dave Odom visited the island expecting little, and instead found a raw, humble talent with potential as towering as his frame. He offered Tim a scholarship that would change everything. Leaving home was painful. He was stepping away from his family, his island, and the memory of his mother. But as he boarded the plane, her words whispered again, "Stand tall," and he did. Tim Duncan left Saint Croix without noise or expectation, unaware he was walking toward greatness. He wasn't chasing fame, only honoring a promise made in love, to stand tall. Tim Duncan entered the NBA in 1997 with the calm of a man stepping into a storm he already knew how to control. Drafted first overall by the San Antonio Spurs, he began a rare 19-year journey with a single franchise, becoming its quiet backbone, like bedrock beneath a rising dynasty. His impact was immediate. As a rookie, he put up over 21 points and nearly 12 rebounds per game, earning Rookie of the Year, All-NBA First Team, and All-Defensive Second Team honors. An entrance so powerful it felt like a new force had entered the league. Paired with David Robinson, he formed the iconic Twin Towers, a duo that reshaped San Antonio into a title contender. That promise became reality in 1999. Duncan led the Spurs to their first NBA championship, seizing Finals MVP after dominating the Knicks with 24 points and 17 rebounds a night. Precision and control defining him like a master craftsman at work. It was the spark that lit a dynasty built not on flash, but on fundamentals sharpened to a blade, and the winning never slowed. Duncan captured 5 NBA titles: 1999, 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2014, cementing the Spurs among basketball's enduring greats. His personal accolades grew just as steadily. 3 NBA Finals MVPs, 1999, 2003, 2005. 2 NBA MVPs, 2002, 2003. 15 All-Star selections across multiple eras. 10 All-NBA first-team honors. 15 All-Defensive team honors, a testament to his silent but suffocating defensive presence. By the time he stepped away in 2016, Duncan had carved his name into the sport with 26,496 points, 15,091 rebounds, and 3,020 blocks, numbers as unshakable as stone. He became known as the Big Fundamental, a player who transformed simplicity into artistry. He never chased attention. He earned reverence. Even after retirement, the honors kept coming. In 2020, he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, and in 2021, he joined the NBA 75th anniversary team, securing his place among basketball's immortals. Through championships, MVPs, defensive mastery, and unmatched consistency, Tim Duncan built his legacy the way he built his game, quietly, steadily, like a rising tide that transforms the shore without ever needing to roar. His greatness didn't shout, it endured. And because he always stood tall, basketball history rose with him. He conquered the paint with poise. Now meet the man who guarded his privacy with the same quiet strength. Tim Duncan always preferred calm waters to crashing waves, measured, steady, and almost fiercely private. Even as the basketball world crowned him a giant, he guarded his personal life with the same quiet discipline he brought to the court. Yet beneath that composed exterior lived a story of love, heartbreak, and renewal. His defining relationship began at Wake Forest University, where he met Amy Sherrill, a psychology student and cheerleader whose bright energy complemented his quiet confidence. What started as friendship slowly deepened, like a small flame growing into something steady and warm, until they became inseparable. As Tim stepped into the pressure-filled world of the NBA, their bond remained solid, carrying them through the whirlwind of early fame. Together, they built a life grounded in loyalty and shared purpose. Amy even helped lead the Tim Duncan Foundation, supporting charitable projects while adjusting to life beside a superstar who valued humility over attention. Their home soon expanded with the arrival of Sydney and Draven, who became the quiet heartbeat of Tim's world. The family lived far from the spotlight, holding on to privacy like a protective shield around their small, close-knit circle. But over time, subtle tensions grew into undeniable fractures. Suspicions, emotional distance, and rising conflicts slowly reshaped their once solid marriage. When Amy filed for divorce, the calm surface of Tim's private life shattered. Rumors surfaced, accusations of infidelity, doubts about loyalty, and whispers of deeper issues neither had wanted to face publicly, adding weight to an already painful unraveling. For a man as private as Tim, the end of his marriage felt like a storm striking still waters. Yet he remained anchored, focusing on his children and quietly protecting what remained of his personal world. In time, healing returned. Tim eventually found steadiness again with Vanessa Messias, whose lively presence contrasted gently with his calm nature. Their relationship unfolded softly, appearing in public only in small glimpses, like sunlight breaking briefly through cloud cover, offering rare moments of warmth from a man who had long kept his personal life guarded. Through love, loss, scrutiny, and rebuilding, Tim Duncan's personal life has remained shaped by the same qualities that defined his career: devotion, humility, and a quiet strength that doesn't need noise to be felt. Behind every trophy stands a man who weathered the storms of relationships with the same steady resilience he brought to the court. And just as his personal life evolved through its own seasons, his wealth grew in the background, steady, controlled, and as deliberate as every move he made on the hardwood. Tim Duncan built his fortune the same way he built his game, with patience, discipline, and a calm precision that rose quietly over time. While others chased flash, he moved like a rising tide, letting consistency do the work. Eventually, that silent approach formed an empire worth around $130 million, shaped by strategy rather than spectacle. It all began on the hardwood. Across nearly 2 decades, as he anchored the Spurs, His earnings climbed with the same dependable rhythm as his bank shot. His career salary reached about $242 million, built contract by contract. Early deals, including his $10 million rookie contract, laid the foundation for massive extensions like a 6-year, $75 million and 7-year, $122 million agreement. And even when he took pay cuts to help the team, his financial base remained firm. Off the court, Duncan stayed selective. His partnership with Adidas, valued at up to $2 million per year, and his steady work with HEB quietly added millions while strengthening his Texas roots. These weren't deals for attention. They were chosen for fit and integrity. After retirement, he shifted gears, literally, by launching Blackjack Speed Shop, a San Antonio custom car business born from passion and turned into profit. Even a multi-million-dollar scam by a trusted associate couldn't shake him. He said the loss didn't dent his long-term stability, a testament to how durable his financial structure was. Real estate added another layer. Duncan invested in multiple properties, including a $1.25 million home in Spicewood, Texas, before upgrading to a larger San Antonio estate. He also owns land in the U.S. Virgin Islands, tying his wealth back to his roots. His car collection alone, featuring models like a Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, Porsche 911 Turbo, vintage Mercuries, and an Audi R8, looks like a museum of engineering and passion, each piece both indulgence and investment. Even after leaving the court, he kept income flowing. His short stint as an assistant coach earned him about $1 million, keeping him connected to the franchise he helped build. But the clearest sign of who Duncan is lies in what he gives. Through the Tim Duncan Foundation, he has funneled hundreds of thousands into cancer research, youth sports, and education. Proof that his wealth wasn't only meant to grow, but to lift others. In the end, Tim Duncan's wealth rose the way he played, quietly, methodically, with a calm that never needed applause. Through smart choices, long-term vision, and a steady hand, he mastered not only the game of basketball, but the art of building lasting wealth. And before anyone could guess how he'd use the fortune he earned on the court, Duncan made his first statement, not with words but with horsepower. Tim Duncan carried his greatness like a whisper, calm, disciplined, almost monk-like in the way he moved through glory. On the court, he built an empire out of fundamentals. Off it, he shaped something quieter, but just as revealing. A small, deeply personal fleet of cars that spoke louder than he ever did. Even after earning more than $242 million in 19 seasons with the Spurs, money never steered him. Passion and precision did. When he retired, that passion didn't fade. It accelerated. Instead of buying every exotic on the market, Duncan handpicked machines that reflected different parts of who he was. He even opened his own custom shop, Blackjack Speed Shop in San Antonio, turning his love of cars into craft and community. One of his most intriguing choices was a Dodge Challenger, fierce, loud, and oddly fitting for a man known for restraint. Starting as a $41,990 muscle car, he rebuilt it into a $120,000 Punisher-themed beast, like a quiet man hiding a storm. Then in classic Duncan fashion, he raffled it off for $60,000 and gave the proceeds to charity. Humble, even in horsepower. Its opposite sits close by. The Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, sleek and predatory, worth around $220,000. Its V12 feels like controlled lightning, silent on the surface, devastating underneath. Mirroring the quiet dominance of Duncan's game, it revealed the part of him fans sensed, a man who admired elegance wrapped around power. But Duncan also loves the past. His restored 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air, white and shining like a postcard memory, shows his devotion to craftsmanship. Beside it sits a smooth, low 1950 Mercury lead sled, revived with the care of a historian shaping steel. No muscle car admirer could ignore the 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. Powerful but unpretentious, it doesn't demand attention. It simply belongs, just like he always did. His appreciation for engineering continues with the 1996 Porsche 993 Turbo, valued at about $150,000, the last of the air-cooled legends, chosen by someone who values mastery over applause. That is Duncan to the core. Somewhere between that German precision and Italian thunder sits his Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano, about $200,000. Strong yet graceful, confident without shouting, a mechanical echo of his personality. And even legends need simplicity. His Cadillac Escalade and GMC Yukon are exactly that. Practical, reliable, blending into the world just as he preferred. In the end, Tim Duncan's garage isn't a display of excess. It's a quiet museum of meaning, every car chosen with intention, each one a reflection of a thoughtful, balanced, extraordinary man. A legend who never needed flash, only fundamentals in a few remarkable machines. Up next, we move from the roar of his cars to the quiet of his homes, spaces that reveal who he really is. Tim Duncan has always moved through life like a steady breath, quiet, controlled, and grounded. And the homes he chose echoed that same calm. Long before he became a five-time champion, he carved out a hideaway on the peaceful edge of Lake Travis in Spicewood, Texas. Purchased in 2005 for about $1.25 million, the property stretched across more than 2 acres, with nearly 4,000 square feet of living space where sunlight poured through tall windows as gently as morning fog rolling off the water. It was a place where silence felt heavy and healing, a world far removed from the echoing roar of packed arenas. Its Mediterranean arches, stucco walls, and vaulted ceilings softened his success, turning the house into a sanctuary rather than a statement. Even the stone fireplace offered quiet drama, like a reminder that true strength doesn't need to shout. Years later, he listed the retreat for $945,000, closing a calm chapter of his life. As retirement settled in, Duncan didn't drift from the city that defined his career. He sank deeper into it. In 2021, he moved into a new San Antonio estate, a palatial refuge tucked behind greenery and far from public eyes. Built not for spectacle but for breathing room, the home feels almost monastic. Open spaces, natural light, a private gym echoing his lifelong discipline, and acres of quiet land that seem to inhale and exhale with him. Its design mirrors the man himself, functional, warm, and intentional, never loud. And then there's the second San Antonio estate along Babcock Road, a 7-bedroom, 8-bath retreat spread across more than 6,000 square feet. Wrapped in lush greenery and shielded from the world, it rises like a fortress of serenity, the kind of place a man who once carried a franchise could finally set his shoulders down. Duncan walked through life softly, almost as if afraid to disturb the peace around him, and this home embodies that grace. Across all his homes, the lakeside refuge in Spicewood, the modern sanctuary in San Antonio, and the quiet estate on Babcock Road, one truth stays the same. Tim Duncan has never been defined by extravagance. His homes aren't trophies, they're reflections of his spirit. Warm, private, intentional spaces where family comes first, noise disappears, and the man behind the legend can simply live. In every corner of every home, you can feel it. The stillness, the balance, the quiet force of someone who never needed to shout to be heard. Tim Duncan has always lived with the quiet confidence of a man who never needed shine to prove his worth. Yet there is one luxury he allows himself: watches. His collection, like his game, is subtle but deliberate. He owns the Piaget Upstream chronograph, a rare piece valued around $10,000 to $15,000. A watch so meaningful he once gifted one to David Robinson with a personal engraving, a gesture as precise as his bank shot. He also sports a Rolex Oyster Perpetual, typically priced between $6,000 to $9,000, a symbol of reliability that mirrors his consistency. And then there's the Patek Philippe Calatrava, valued around $20,000 to $30,000, a masterpiece of timeless elegance that fits his understated style. Yet Duncan keeps balance. Alongside these luxury pieces, he'll still wear a Casio G-Shock worth under $200, proving his tastes, like his legacy, blend humility and excellence with effortless grace. But come on, what's a story without a touch of controversy? Even Tim Duncan, the NBA's quiet giant, wasn't spared from a twist in the shadows. He spent his career mastering calm, but nothing prepared him for the storm that came from someone he trusted. His longtime financial advisor, Charles Banks, quietly siphoned away over $20 million, manipulating Duncan into bad investments and hidden debts. Betrayal disguised as guidance. When the truth surfaced, Duncan, embarrassed but unbroken, fought back. Courts later confirmed the fraud, sentencing Banks to 4 years in federal prison and ordering $7.5 million in restitution. It wasn't a scandal Duncan caused, just a wound he endured, proving even the quietest giants can be targeted. And that wraps up the luxury life of Tim Duncan. Proof that greatness doesn't always shine the loudest. His cars, his homes, his timepieces. They all whisper the same truth. Elegance doesn't need attention, it just needs intention. So if you enjoyed stepping into the quiet world of a legend, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know whose story we uncover next. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and stay legendary.